So the Xbox Game Showcase just wrapped up, and I feel like we finally got our first proper showcase of 2025. And don't get me wrong, you know me, I'm a Sony pony. I'm a Nintendo Switch 2 fanboy, but gotta admit, Xbox really brought it hard to this showcase, and I think that there was probably something for everybody. They basically just jumped into game after game after game. There wasn't a lot of fluff. There wasn't a lot of hype. They just delivered on... I lost count of how many games. And I think there were some good ones in here, of course. They're all Xbox games, which means if you have Game Pass, I do not. But if you do have Game Pass, well, then you're just sitting there eating good. You're like, oh, that's a game I get to play soon. That's a game I get to check out soon. This new content's coming in for me. That's awesome. I'm not really in the Xbox ecosphere anymore. I think Halo Infinite and kind of the lack of support for that kind of finally made me divorce. And then obviously I jumped hard into PlayStation Pro, but there's definitely something for everybody. And I think they did a good job to make people like me who have been kind of removed from Xbox for a while, kind of maybe reconsider like, hey, you know what? Maybe they're not as dead as we thought they were. So we're going to get into all that and more, but before I dive in, I would like you to consider subscribing to the channel. I would greatly appreciate it. All right, so Xbox Game Showcase 2025, everything you need to know. I think the biggest thing to take away here, I'm just going to zoom in on this picture actually, so I really want to talk about. Can I make that picture bigger? Hopefully. There we go. I mean, look at the amount of games these guys dropped. I mean, they're doing right now as I'm talking, I don't really care about it, but they're doing a Outer Worlds 2 Direct. So they're going to deep dive that today. There we go. They're doing Outer Worlds Direct right now. Black Ops 7 came on at the very, very end there. I didn't even know what that trailer was for. I got excited because Phil comes out, you know, hey, thanks for watching. And there's always one more reveal, right? And I was like, here it is. I don't know what it is. He said they've been with us since the beginning. And I'm thinking, oh, okay, something Halo related. Halo's been with them since the beginning. Now, 343 continues to shit the bed. It was actually Call of Duty Black Ops 7. But hey, you know, Black Ops 6 is still going strong, but as is Call of Duty, and I've fallen off that bandwagon too, but as is Call of Duty, you know, this would be the time of the year to start hyping up the next big release. So they showed off a little game trailer there, a little preview to kind of get you wound up. A lot of these games were rehashed from previous conferences or things we already knew about, like Ninja Gaiden 4 we already knew was coming, Tony Hawk's Pro Skater 3 and 4, Gears of War Reloaded, just name a few of things that like, yeah, we kind of knew that was coming, but there was a lot of depth and breadth here of things that I was like, wow, games that really caught me off guard. Mudang was one that I'm probably saying that name wrong incorrectly, but man, that game really, really impressed me. I was really excited for that. Even Sea of Thieves, which is in season 17, believe it or not. Can you believe there's seasons in Sea of Thieves? We're on the 17th season. Like, I remember playing that game, and we had no idea what to do. We were just like, I don't know, let's go sailing and find some trouble to get into. Like, the fact that they're including some narrative now with the Thieves Guild or the Smugglers Guild, it's pretty impressive. I got to give them credit. Clockwork Revolution was a game that was definitely on my radar as well. Still remains so. And I would have to say Project Alana 2. I didn't even know there was a Project Alana 1, but I'm like, maybe I need to go check that out. Obviously, not every game is for every person, and a lot of these games are going to be available on other platforms like PlayStation 5 or on PC. They seem to have finally removed themselves of the console exclusive. Recall years ago, you would see a trailer and it would either say world premiere, console exclusive, or Game Pass exclusive, or, you know, it gave the indication that you needed to be invested in the hardware in order to play the games. Sony still does that very much so. Obviously, Nintendo Switch 2 does that very much so. Xbox has pivoted pretty hard. Is it working? I mean, there's a lot of games here. I mean, I think there's probably some good money that I'll be spending next year. I still have not yet checked out Indiana Jones, but I think now with the Order of Giants DLC, maybe we'll get one of those like definitive edition games where we get the game and the DLC, and that might be something to check it out. Clockwork Revolution is probably a game that I'm going to be investing heavily in. The Blood of the Dawnwalker, just name a few, right? So they've got my money from somebody who's not in their ecosphere, but did it do enough to win me to get back out my Series X and to fire that up and to buy into Game Pass? No, it did not. I am too firmly enrooted in the PlayStation world now, and I'm just kind of tired of some of the Xbox performance issues that I've seen in the past. But man, Xbox fans, I get it. You guys are eating really, really well. So really good showcase all in all. I mean, I was very impressed, and I think, there's a lot to be proud of. I think all those studios that Microsoft had bought, over the last decade, 15 years going back even, of just them going nuts and buying stuff, I feel like they're starting to finally see some return of investment. Shout out to Phil, who's looking real good. Used to be a little pudgy. He looked more like a mob boss before. Now he's looking, mean and lean, ready to go. He was leaning back. He kind of had the evil corporate overlord look going. So that was cool to see. I'm still shocked that Matt Booty works there. I think he needs to go, but hey, I don't run the company. But it was nice to see. It was nice to see so much stuff, honestly, and I just would like to applaud them and say great job. The one thing that I think caught my eye is something that I think we knew was coming. It's been leaked. It's the worst kept secret ever. Is the Republic of Gamers, or the ROG Ally, and now the Ally X from Asus. So the problem with a lot of these hardware releases, and this even happened on the Nintendo Switch 2, is all these companies are partnering with, like Microsoft, PlayStation, Nintendo. They're partnering with existing vendors. They don't know how to make silicon, right? So it's pretty clear through patents and through kind of some of the manufacturing that we're seeing, like we know this was coming. So while it was cool to see, we actually got to look at it. Phil was holding it. He had Bellatra on the screen. How cool was that? Nice little nod to Bellatra, even there in the little picture there. It's still nice to see it, even though we knew it existed, right? To hold it, to see it, that it's real, that's awesome. So I am not much into the portable processing space outside of the Nintendo Switch. I've been doing a lot of streaming stuff, particularly with the PlayStation Portal, but I've always felt, and I've always said this on this channel, I would much rather have processing in my hand than on a cloud, digitized, uncoded, decoded to my handheld screen. The picture quality is just not the same. It will always look better at the source, which is why I was never heavily invested in the whole idea of streaming. I know, I'm a hypocrite. I got a PlayStation Portal and I love it, but there are definitely times when I'm like, ooh, I know that's not how that's supposed to look, but it's my portal to the PlayStation. I got all my games on there and I'm like, well, I'll take it. Would I much rather be able to process it on my individual processor, hold it in my hand? Absolutely, in a heartbeat. My particular playstyle, lifestyle, I'm mostly tethered. I'm not much of a road warrior in my new position anymore, and I think those days are probably firmly behind me. But for people who are on the go, you might want to check out the ROG Ally or the ROG Ally X, because that sounds amazingly cool. It is going to bring that console experience to you, and we're going to cut out that streaming, and that's exactly what this is intended to do. Now, if you're somebody, I will point this out before we get into this a little bit. If you are somebody who is invested in this is an Xbox, like my phone is an Xbox and my toaster is an Xbox, this might not do much for you, because you're like, well, I already have that now. I'm already playing games on my phone through the cloud streaming service, or I have a gaming laptop, or some other way to a tablet, whatever. Like, I can process that from the cloud. If you're happy with that, this doesn't apply to you. This is for the person who wants the best possible experience wherever they go. And that's what this is going to offer for you. The computer in your hand, the Steam Deck, obviously partner with Xbox, putting that Xbox button on there loud and proud in the front, releasing two variants, one being slightly more expensive than the other. Prices have not yet been revealed, but I could just tell you it's going to be more expensive. So they're coming out with two. And this isn't to say that the ROG Ally, by the way, is a budget console. It's not. The way they kind of brand it and make it sound like, well, the ROG Ally is okay, but the X is the best. I mean, the ROG Ally is pretty good. It's got some meat to it, right? So looking at the table here that's in their Xbox Wire blog post, both run a modified version of Windows 11 Home that does include this curated game library that's going to allow you to basically pull in all of your games from Steam or Battle.net or the Xbox Game Pass launcher all into one kind of curated list. So it is going to be like you turn it on and it's like the Steam big picture. It just works. You just jump in and start playing. You're not navigating through apps or programs. I'm looking at my Windows computer here. I think I'm up to like 9 launchers now. Every game's got their own launcher, which is ridiculous. That this is all curated into a single place. You just play it and the game just works. That is amazing. Both of them include the... actually, interesting. I was going to say both of them include the Hall effect analog triggers. It looks to me like That is not the case on the Ally X. That can't be true. That's got to be an oversight. There's no way. There's no way they're going to put better analog sticks on the cheaper one than the Ally X. Interesting what they choose to highlight. That just goes to show, I mean, until we actually see it, this is all press. This is all hype. This is all getting you wound up on this kind of stuff. So yeah, I assume they're both going to include the Hall effect, right? That would just make the most sense. Probably what you're paying for the most though is a processor. So keep in mind, if you watch a lot of videos on Digital Foundry, or if you are a PC gamer, if you're not, this will be your introduction to it. But all gaming computers built differently, all have different types of processing power that allows you to play the games better, worse, they load faster, some have shadows, some don't, some have better anti-aliasing, some don't. You got to kind of find your sweet spot. Do you want performance or do you want quality? These are no different. But you're really starting to see the difference here in the processor between the processor and the memory, honestly, getting you a little bit more oomph. How will this compare to an Xbox Series X? Well, it should be better. Right? It should be. PC gaming does allow you much more control over what you're doing. But as Microsoft continues to shift into this platform, particularly porting their games over to PlayStation, and I think inevitably over to the Switch too, I wouldn't be surprised to see if they include more PC-esque options going forward in terms of some of the options of like changing these things that you normally see on a PC screen where you can toggle every little feature. As we're like on a video game, it's basically, do you want quality or do you want performance? And then the system handles the rest. I think when you dabble into stuff like this, you're probably going to start getting into that more to find what works best for you and your particular setup. And then I also wonder as well, as this comes online, I assume that this software will be made available for other platforms as well. I know they're already kind of dabbling with that on the Xbox launcher on the Windows platform, but there are a lot of other handheld consoles out there that aren't directly associated with Republic of Gamers that I would be very curious to see if you could have an official build of this over on Steam Deck, for example, right? Or, another portable platform of choice. Obviously, the bigger unit also comes with a little bit better memory. They both come with M.2s, which is awesome. Obviously, the one's a little bit bigger than the other. Screens are identical, which is kind of interesting that they are sticking to the same screen. Obviously, they do support the 120 hertz, which is great. I think that is an absolute must. Both support 1080, which I think is pretty standard on the smaller screens. Pushing more pixels on a smaller screen is going to drive the price up pretty much, astronomically high. So you're not going to see much of a difference there. The higher unit comes with a little bit better interface, a couple more ports, and that sort of thing. And it weighs a little more, obviously, a little bit better hardware, bigger battery, that sort of thing. Pre-order, not available yet. Pricing, not available yet. I'll be curious to see what this actually comes out, with what it comes out with, and then what some of the performance ultimately looks like too. I think this is probably the highlight of the show, though. Outside of the games, of course, there's a lot going on, and there's going to be a lot of discussions in the coming weeks about game prices and about when the showcase, when the smoke clears, which games actually withstand the test of time. How many showcases have we seen where we look at a game, we get super excited for it, and then we kind of forget about it, or it doesn't deliver? I think Outer Worlds is a phenomenal example. Outer Worlds, oh my God, it's by Obsidian Entertainment. They're the guys who did this. They did my favorite Fallout. They did, they were involved with this team. They pulled people over from BioShock. Oh my God, this is great. And then Outer Worlds comes out and it sucked. So on paper, it's like the perfect game, and then it's not. So that's not to say that the ROG Ally is going to be this. It's not to say the showcase is going to be this. But I think as I've gotten older and wiser, I have managed to temper expectations. But on paper, this showcase kicked ass. On paper, the ROG Ally X is going to be one of the coolest pieces of tech out there. Will it deliver? Will it be what you want? Will the price point be there? Will it fit your particular use case and your kind of mood at the time? We'll have to wait and see. All right, that'll wrap up today's video. I will post links to this in the description box below. Like I said, while you're down there, please consider subscribing to the channel. I want to thank you guys so much for watching. Take care of yourselves, and until next time, I will see you guys on the other side. Bye-bye.